wondering, how do I know so much about sociopaths? How can you trust me that I have any knowledge about sociopaths? And that's a fair question. I'm going to answer it. So I have my master's in family therapy, psychology. But my first job before I got my master's was not my very first job, but one where I worked with sociopaths. Was in Chicago. I worked at the 4Cs there. And we worked with young male sociopaths for the most part. And I led a team of 8 and developed a program to try and change the course of their lives, and learned a lot about sociopaths and how to manage their behaviors, and also that there's really no healing a sociopath, which was so sad. But it's a wound that happens. It's brain damage. It's really a kind of developmental brain damage that happens in a pre-verbal time. So in the first 0 to 3 years, somehow a sociopath develops, and that's it, pretty much. Their minds are broken for the rest of their lives. And how sad is that? I have a lot of compassion for the people I worked with and for sociopaths in general, but that doesn't mean I should be their victim. So. And there are many, 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 many in our world today. And I'm certain, and this is my theory, my hypothesis, and there certainly needs to be a lot more study, but I'm certain that's because we live in a world where sociopaths are rewarded, where they are the ones in charge. And so just logically, we are creating, unfortunately, a lot of them, and they're ruining our world. So we need to know more about them. Now, those of you who might be saying, but okay, because there's a lot of information on TikTok and social media these days about what narcissism is. And so you may have the question, what's the difference between narcissism and sociopathy? And primarily from a mental sort of configuration, psychodynamic perspective, there really isn't any difference between narcissism and sociopathy. We tend to look at sociopaths as people who are criminals, who get caught. Basically, they get caught committing crimes, and so they're a sociopath. Narcissists tend to be higher function. They tend to fit in better to society. They tend to be better at hiding their their disorder. But it's basically the same, narcissism and sociopathy. And we all need to have a lot more insight into how these people think, right? So I'm going to be posting some videos on here and showing you with my little sample sociopath in the house and the sociopaths who are running this place, what it entails. So a good example of the insanity of a sociopath was in that eviction notice I told you about, right? The first problem was that they said, basically they're asserting that I'm making a lot of noise, disturbing the other men, and that's one reason they should kick me out. Now, we know from looking at all my videos, the noise I'm making is because I am being attacked, physically assaulted, harassed, harmed, things stolen by this sociopath. But they only call out my response as the problem because I'm terrified. I'm screaming for help. I'm being attacked. That's the problem in a sociopath's mind. That really is the problem, and it's because there is no there in a sociopath. There's no real integrity. They aren't really a whole human being. They can't reflect on themselves. They can't do a lot of things that whole human beings can do. And because they don't have any wholeness, they can't perceive another person as having wholeness. All they can perceive, really, is how it's impacting them in uncomfortable ways. And so, even though to anyone with a brain cell who isn't insane, of course when I'm in the kitchen, I'm being attacked, I'm screaming. Anyone would, right? But But because they can't perceive themselves as existing really, or what what their behaviors are, because they don't really exist in their own mind. They can't reflect on themselves. They don't see what they're doing. All they can perceive is the uncomfortable things happening to them, right? And so the uncomfortable thing happening to them is that I'm screaming and they don't like it. It disturbs their peace. They can't perceive the moment before. They can't perceive the context and how that came about. They just can't perceive it. They're insane. And they don't like it, right? So they want to kick me out and they don't care that would kill me. Better, like they want to kill off, especially women. Women are especially their targets, and there's a variety of very sad reasons for that. But let's just tell you that the women are primarily the targets of these sociopaths. And one of them may be that women are easy to get to, right? We're not defended, we're not protected, but there's plenty. There's plenty of other reasons for that. We all need to have much, much, much better insight into what a sociopath is, into how they perceive the world. They're never going to have that insight on themselves because that's part of the disorder. Their minds are primitively wired. They're brain damaged, essentially. But we need to see them. We sure do.